Hello and welcome. My name is Rick Roller, and this is the Institute of Real Estate Education, and this is our exciting live exam prep series. Yes, this is what you need to pass the test because we go through questions one at a time, and these questions will bear well, at least the concept of the question will be something you're going to see again sometime in the future when it counts. Okay, so what we do is this particular class is a Utah law class. So if you have tuned in to our live exam prep series and you're taking a test in a different state than the state of Utah, you don't need this class. You need another class that teaches you to do your particular state, whether it's Florida or Texas or wherever it might be. And but you're welcome to listen if you'd like, if you're interested in Utah law. But I would spend most of your time working with our national themed live exam prep series instead of this Utah law class. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so let's look at number one tonight. Number one says W needs to be a licensed real estate agent in order to. W needs to be a licensed real estate agent in order to A, help his girlfriend sell her house in exchange for a commission. Now that's warm and fuzzy. Hang on to that one. B, work in a property manager's office placing newspaper ads. Okay. C, buy property for himself. Or D, manage a motel. Okay. Do you think most motel managers, whether it's Motel 6 or 8 or 10 or whatever they are, do you think they all have a real estate license? Oh, heavens no. They're just hired to run a motel. So that can't be right. Buy property for yourself. Do you need a real estate license to purchase or even sell your own real estate that you personally own? Of course not. So that's two. Now we have a 50-50 chance. It's either A or B. Let's look at B. Work in a property manager's office placing newspaper ads. So you're our ad specialist. You're not even talking to people about renting or not even talking to people about selling or buying. Okay. So that leaves us with A. In multiple choice testing, a lot of times it's going to be a process of elimination, excuse me. So if you can eliminate one or two, then you've got a really much percentage-wise a great chance. If you can eliminate three, then the only one remaining has got to be it. So A is the correct answer here. If you help anyone, whether they're your girlfriend or ex-girlfriend or ex-wife or whoever, buy a house or ex-boyfriend, and you're expecting a commission, you need to have a real estate license. Okay. And what really makes that click is you're expecting a commission in exchange for a commission. Okay. Got to be licensed. Question number two, please.
Hey, hope you're enjoying the video. Be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any more of them. And if you want even more review material, we have in the Prep My Exam link in the comments, we've got a plethora of practice exams, we have audiobooks, we have an exam simulator, we have everything that our students use to pass the exam on their first try. Okay? And if you want to get licensed in Utah, check out realestateonlinelearning.com and we'll hook you up.
Okay, here on question number two, we have S needs a real estate license if she is to what? A, sell your own properties. Well, you can sell your own property without a real estate license. We already covered that a moment ago. B, work as a resident apartment manager paid by reduced or free rent. That's okay too, as long as they're living there. C, work as a salaried employee of the owner of a large office complex with a primary duty to collect rents. If it's not based on performance, that doesn't look like a commission. It looks like you're hired as a secretarial type admin person. And that's okay too. So that leaves us with D, obtain her law degree and specialize in assisting sellers with finding buyers. Okay. Whether you have a law degree or a medical degree or just a general ed degree, doesn't make any difference. If you're specializing in helping sellers with finding buyers, that sounds a whole lot like you need a what? Real estate license. And you do. That is the correct answer. D is in David. Okay. These other things are specific exemptions. If you're working there as a salaried employee of a large office complex with a primary duty to collect rents, okay, well, that doesn't need a real estate license. Wouldn't be a bad thing to have, but you're a salaried employee. You're not working for commissions. And B, work as a resident apartment manager paid by reduced rent or free rent. That's okay too. Don't need a license. And you don't need a license, of course, sell your own things. So, process of elimination, once again, folks. And whether you have a law degree or something won't cause you to not need a license. Now, a lot of people get confused on this because if you do have a law degree, then the division will waive a lot of your hours for education. And depending on what it is and what you've been doing in law, they may waive it all, but probably not. They'll waive a major portion of it probably. But that, you need to meet with them and talk to them and give them a resume in particular, maybe even your major and what you did and whatnot. But just having a law degree is not going to automatically let you assist buyers and sellers. Now, you can certainly write contracts and things for them. That's what lawyers do. But as far as showing them houses and helping with the arrangements, getting it all done, you're right on the edge and probably will not work. Someone's going to turn you in and it's going to be nasty. And you don't want to get in the newsletter and you don't want to be fined for something when it's so easy for someone that has a law degree to get a license because they can pass a multiple choice test more than likely with a little bit of brush up. We even have some special programs at our school where we help people that need less education and help them get through the exam. Look at number 3, please. So when you're thinking about getting your license in Utah, come see us. Number 3, what can a real estate licensee not sell? Why can a licensee not sell an investment opportunity to a large real estate project that will involve securities and multi-use properties? Now, the key here is the word securities. What is a security? Well, it's like stock. It could be units of beneficial interest in a trust. But what it is something that is not real estate. So even though this entity, this non-breather, whether it's a limited liability company or Massachusetts Business Trust or whatever it might be, owns the real estate, if you're selling interest in that entity, you're not really selling real estate, you're selling interest in that entity, which is a security. So, that would mean you need a security license, right? Now look at B, because the multiple zoning, which would be required, it has nothing to do with zoning here, folks. Yeah, you could have a building that has multiple use. It's in a multiple use zoning area where you have retail on the bottom level or office on the bottom level, or maybe office on the level 1 and 2. And then above that, it's housing. It's people that live in apartments or they own condos. And that would be multiple zoning. And that's not, um, that's not what this question is all about. Okay. And then the multiple uses of the property requires specialized license. No, just because it has different uses doesn't necessarily require a license, whether it's residential or whether it's medical or whether it's office or even storage garages. That's all real estate. You're going to need a license to sell any of that. Because a license BD is in David, because a licensee cannot sell a partial interest in a property, you can sell a partial interest in a property. The problem is you're not selling property, you're selling securities. Okay, and that requires a different type of license. Okay, you need a securities license. And that comes in several different flavors, just like, other types of licenses might, like a medical license. Number 4. Okay, which of the following is a requirement for a licensed person to be a commissioner? You want to be on a real estate commission. Now, in our state, you're appointed by the governor with the approval of the state senate. So it's kind of has a political feel to it. If you work with the incoming governor on getting him elected and whatnot, make a nice donation to his campaign and help him gather votes and whatnot, then and you want to be on the real estate commission, you got probably a better shot than if the governor doesn't know who you are. Okay, but there's other requirements other than just being tapped by the governor with the approval of the Senate. Okay, so let's look at those. Okay, is B correct? Be a principal broker for 3 years. Okay, You don't have to be a principal broker to serve on a real estate commission. You have to have a real estate license, but it could be a sales license or a principal broker's license, or even an associate broker's license. So it's more common that you have a broker's license. I mean, I had a lady that got tapped for the commission and was approved, and she had a sales license. She was a little embarrassed that she didn't have a broker's license, so I helped her get her broker's license while she was serving on the commission. What about C? You got to have that license for 3 years. All right, so principal broker, 3 years. No, you could be a sales agent. Active licensee for 5 years. Okay. What's the matter with C? It's the same thing as A. You don't have to have a broker's license. So look at D. So B and C don't work. I mean, D, have a sales agent license for 3 years. Okay. What you need to know here is it's 5 years. Okay. So, and you can get on the commission with just a sales license, which is why I told you that story about the lady I helped get a broker's license, get her broker's license after she was already on the commission. So the correct answer to this one has got to be B, as in boy, be an active agent for 5 years. And active licensee, it could be a principal broker. It could be as an associate broker, which is really just someone working for a principal broker. It's kind of like a salesperson, really, except that you have a broker's license. So you're called an associate broker. The cool thing about having an associate broker's license is you can start your own firm in a heartbeat. It's much quicker because you have a broker's license that can be turned in if it was an associate broker and come back as a principal broker. And so I suggest that everyone, after you've been in the business for a while, and you've gathered enough points and you've put in enough time to get your broker's license, you come back to school and get your broker's license because it'll give you more flexibility with your opportunities. And it's kind of nice rather than just being a salesperson. Well, I'm not, I don't have a salesperson. I have a broker's license, whatever that might get you. Number 5, please. Okay, the duties of a real estate commissioner do not include which of the following. So I have these 5 commissioners that come from 5 different counties and serve 5-year terms. Okay, what does it not include? Okay, making and enforcing rules and regulations. Well, guys, that sounds a lot like what a commissioner does. They make the rules. The laws are made by the legislature. Okay, they advise the director. It's more like the director advises them. Okay, but passing laws related to the practice of real estate. Now, what's the matter with that first one and the second one? Nothing. That's what they do. But look at the question again. See that big word, N-O-T, not? We're looking for the negative here. And when you're taking an exam, if it's a negative question like this one, they don't try to hide the not. They'll make it caps just like this one. So pay attention. What I want you to do, strongly recommend, is that you read the stem of the question. The duties of real estate commissioners do not include which of the following? Well, making and enforcing rules, yeah, they do that. They advise the director. Yeah, they do that, although the director does advise them too. Passing laws, no, they don't pass laws. That's the legislature. Regulating property manager, well, they certainly do that. They regulate property management, appraisals, and real estate licensees at the commission. So of these 3 guys, it is passing the laws. That's what they do not do. Who does that? The state legislature does that. So, the passing rate at our school is quite high because we have reviews like this and we talk about the strategies behind the questions. And I'm real proud of the passing rate of our school. It's up there in the stratosphere, okay? But there are many schools that don't update their information as quickly as they should, perhaps. Laws and rules do change all the time. And of course, they change those on the exam. Now, they try to be fair with that, and they'll take a question topic off the test for a while until the population of agents in our state can get brought up to speed. But you can do this. You can pass this test. It is multiple choice. And yes, you've got to know quite a bit of new information. And there's a lot of vocabulary words that you will be exposed to that you just don't use a lot in regular English, like hypothecate. Hypothecate means you pledged your property as collateral on a loan. But if you walk up to someone and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about hypothecating," you might get slapped. I don't know. Anyway, that's as funny as they get. Let's look at number 6, please. Okay, this is serious stuff. The Real Estate Commission can. What can they do? Okay, can they set commission percentages? No, the commission doesn't set percentages on commissions. That's there are discount companies, there's expensive companies that are above the norm, there's companies that fall in the middle. There's all kinds of commission programs, and the commission they don't care about that. They care about you following the rules and honoring your fiduciaries and doing an excellent job. The real estate commission chooses brokers for each company. No, of course not. Create rules and regulations for pre-licensing schools. Oh, that one sounds warm and fuzzy. Okay, or D, cancel real estate purchase contracts. No, I don't cancel contracts. Okay, of these three, of course, this one kind of stands out. It is C, of course. Create rules and regulations for pre-licensing schools. And they, of course, create rules and regulations for licensees as well, but also for real estate schools. Okay? We're regulated by them. And they're concerned about passing rates. They want you guys to have a fair chance of getting through the test. And I think our method of teaching you, particularly in going through these questions, and we have dozens and dozens of these classes, that cover all the different topics. Let's go to number 7, please. Now we're talking about the Utah Division of Real Estate and what it regulates. Does it regulate real estate agents? Well, of course it does. So hang on to that one. That's warm and fuzzy. Look at B. Does it regulate interest rates? No. We don't have regulated real estate loan interest rates. They're up and down all the time. Okay. And it has nothing to do with the division. Do they regulate real estate commissions? Do they tell you what you have to charge? No, of course they don't. And they have nothing to do with home prices as well. So what they regulate, of course, are real estate agents and also appraisers, right? And also lenders, mortgage lenders. Okay. Okay, so that's the first 7 we're going through tonight. And you can see as we go through these how once you have gone through a review like this, these terms and the right thing is going to start jumping out at you more and more and more. I think once you've completed your 120 hours, or even during your 120 hours journey through those hours, it makes a lot of sense to go through these types of reviews where we're looking at an in-depth, we're working with questions, because that's what you're going to be faced with. And it's going to be a timed exam and you're going to be nervous. And there's a lot of tips that we can give you to get through, but you got to know the information, and you don't have to know the right answer. You have to pick it out of a lineup of 4. Okay. So that's a whole different skill, but it's one that's going to take some time because you need to know these words. Let's look at number 8, please. Now, number 8 says, which of the following is regulated by the Division of Real Estate? Okay. Real estate commissions, once again, home prices, once again, appraisers, or interest rates. What do you think, guys? Appraisals, appraisers. Yeah, appraisers are one of the things that fall under the division's purview. Now, home prices, they're up and down, and the division's not going to come out and say, well, we're the governmental entity in Utah that oversees licensed agents and appraisers and lenders as well. So we want to make sure that you get a fair shake, and so there's lots of different rules that we have to abide by, despite which discipline you are in our industry. But they certainly don't regulate rates or home prices or commissions that you charge. Those are all negotiable, pretty much. I mean, a lender's going to tell you what their rate is and what they can do, and sometimes they can better it, but most of the time that's just what it is. Okay. Number 9. Number 9 says, if an agent has a dispute about their commission on a transaction, what can they do? They thought, they're looking at their check and they say, wait a minute, I thought that I should get this much on my check, not this much. And so can they file a hold on commissions with the Division of Real Estate? Well, wait a minute. We've been talking about what the division in the commission does and doesn't do. They make rules and regulations, but they enforce them, but they don't uh, file a hold on checks. I mean, that's just not their job. Okay. B, file a lien against their broker. Okay. Well, I don't know. Filing a lien against your broker. What do you think? Uh, huh. Well, maybe you like that one. I don't know. But a lien really has to come by some adjudicated authority. Okay, so maybe that's probably not the best one, just sitting that there alone. File for payment due from the seller. File for payment with who? Or D, file a lawsuit against their broker. Now, why are you suing the broker? Because all listings belong to the broker. Yeah, D is the right answer here, guys. They don't belong to you. It is your broker's listing. And so whether it's a buyer's contract listing or a seller's exclusive right to sell type listing or an open listing or an exclusive agency listing, whatever type listing you get, doesn't belong to you. It belongs to your broker. So leave your broker, and if you have 20 listings, guess what's going to happen with all them? He's going to reassign them to other people in his firm. Probably not give them to you. So anyway, there's a lot of ways around that. Maybe, I don't know, you can go to your broker. I know when I was recruiting existing agents from other brokers and I wanted them badly enough, um, I would say, if you relinquish this listing and let my guy go back in under my brokerage and list that again, I will pay you a referral fee, which is what you would have got for the commission anyway. That's what we used to do. And they kind of like that because they have no legal responsibility. There's no fiduciary if they're just receiving a referral fee from another agent. All that falls back on us. But essentially, what I was doing is giving up like one commission to get that agent. Okay. Or maybe several if they, had a lot of listings and we negotiated, but it's all negotiable. Okay. But if your broker doesn't pay you the way your contract said they were going to pay you, you should have a written sales contract. Employment agreement, which talks a little bit about you're an independent contractor and what your broker splits are and whatnot. Okay. And it should be real specific, and you should understand that real well. So there shouldn't be a lot of disputes like this. You should know what it is. And there's a commission schedule in your agreement. Sometimes the broker will say, well, you do get a higher rate now, but they don't split a commission on a deal. Because you did this deal, you now fall into a higher commission category because you've earned this much money. So you get an extra 5%, but that's not on this deal. That just approved you to get the extra five, um, you know, 5%. So it's the next deal you do, so I don't know. I mean, those are the type of arguments you might get into. So just make to understand, you understand all aspects of your payment on what you're getting for a deal, and it's not that difficult, and it's all in writing. It should be in writing. You should have a written employment agreement. If you're working for a firm in Utah and you don't have a written employment agreement, that's actually violating the rules. So both you and your broker could get in trouble if they come calling. Number 10, please. If they come calling from the division. How many days does an agent have to respond when the division notifies them of complaint against them? Is it 5, 10, 15, or 30 days? Well, 30 days is a lot. 5 is too short. So it's either going to be 10 or 15. What do you think, guys? Well, it's 10 days. I mean, you either know it or you don't. It's 10 days. So these commissioners, they're going to rule against you, and they tell you what it is, and here's what it is, and there's a $5,000 fine. You better be working on how you're going to get that paid. Now, at this stage of the game, you haven't even been, there's just a complaint against you. They want your side of the story. So get it in within the 10 days. If you're going to be out of town or something, people need a way of getting in touch with you. With electronics being what it is now, you could write your answers to that complaint and send them from almost anywhere you are in the world. You could send it as an email or whatever. But you have 10 days to respond. And if you do not respond within those 10 days, well, that's considered an additional complaint. They'll fine you for that as well. So these are regulators, and they take their jobs very seriously in safeguarding the public and the public interest. So follow the rules is what I'm telling you. But you got to know the rules to follow them. Okay. Number 11. When a division thinks a licensee is violating real estate law, before the hearing, they may freeze the trust account to protect against embezzlement. Now, do you think the commission, the division can do that, or do you think that's something like maybe a judge could do? Yeah, well, if you're going for A here on number 11, you're being suckered. Okay, and the division doesn't have the right to freeze your, walk into your bank and say, okay, I want all these proceeds seized. That would have to come from a judge. Okay, B, issue a writ of attachment. Well, once again, a writ of attachment is not the right answer here. That could have some relevance if you're in court and a judge rules in that, because actually what they're doing is they're attaching your account. Look at C, suspend the license of the individual involved in the questionable activities. Now, here they just think you're violating. They haven't proven it yet. So C is not the right answer either, because they're going to come in and do a very thorough investigation. So what they might do and what they can do is they could do D. They could issue a cease and desist order. Okay, quit advertising that way, or quit doing what you're doing because we think it might be a violation, but we're coming in to take a closer look and determine whether it's a violation or not. So now, if you don't cease and desist, like because they have the right to issue a cease and desist order until they decide what you're doing was kosher or not kosher. And maybe they'll decide, well, that's, we thought about it a lot and we've discussed it and we decided that what you're doing is okay. Okay. It is a little, offbeat, but it's okay. So, another way you could handle that, I mean, these commission meetings are public meetings. I suggest that as an active agent in real estate, particularly if you live along the Wasatch Front, you might want to go to some of these commission meetings and meet the commissioners. I mean, it'd be great to know who they are, and great if they know who you are, and you can pick up the phone and call them and say, "How do you think you guys would think about this or that?" And they say, "That's really interesting. I know they're doing that in California, or I know they're doing that in Arizona. Maybe we don't really have a rule for that. I mean, it's really cool to be able to talk to the commissioners, and they're just a licensee like you are, or at least four of the five are. One of the five has to not have a real estate license, and generally there's someone from the real estate industry, like they're a lender or perhaps they're a title person, so they have some familiarity with contracts and whatnot that we use, but they're not licensees. So only four can be licensees. And like I said, they don't have to be a broker, but usually they are, but they don't have to be. You could be a sales agent, still be on the real estate commission. It's just that you're good buddies with the the political party in power in our state, or you're good friends with the governor. You might get put on the commission if that's something you want to do. Number 12, and it's a great way to give back to the industry. Number 12, the Division of Real Estate must give corrective notice to an agent to allow them 30 days to change their behavior. If, well, what about just their first offense? Okay, what about the damages are less than $5,000? What about they've gone without complaints for 3 years or more? Hopefully they've never had a complaint. D, they never have to give corrective notice. Guys, that's the right answer. They don't have to give corrective notice. Corrective notice is a gift from the real estate gods. Corrective notice says, well, we looked at what you did and it was wrong. But I'll tell you what, this is a letter that we're admonishing you to correct this, fix it so it doesn't happen again. And usually there's not a fine, because if there's a fine, you're going to be in the newsletter and that's going to be public record. But if they just give you corrective notice, if it's not really correct, but it's not horrible, they may just give you corrective notice and they have 30 days to change your behavior. Now, sometimes on this corrective notice, they also say you have to go take a ethics class or some specific class in real estate, and you will not receive CE credit for it for your license renewal, which is you need 18 hours every 2 years, which if you're active agent, you should get a heck of a lot more, current education on how to do the business than 18 hours every 2 years, but that's a minimum. Okay. Nine have to be core and nine could be elective. So that's for your 18 hours. But whether it's a first offense or not, that has nothing to do with this. In fact, if anything, that's most of them. Damages are less than 5 grand. Well, 5 grand is still a lot of money, I mean, so that doesn't make any sense. Agent has gone without complaints for 3 years. Hopefully you don't get a lot of complaints. If you get a lot of complaints, they already know your name. This is not a good thing. And they never have to give corrective notice. That is the right answer. They don't have to. But when they do, man, at least do what they tell you to do. I had an agent friend that got pulled in. Uh, he did something wrong. And what he did was he had buyers that he was working with, and it was very frustrating because they couldn't find what they wanted, and he was driving them back to their car, and it was like dead silence in the automobile, and he knew he was losing them, you know. But then he remembered that he'd had a discussion with his spouse, and he called her and said, "Hey, honey, I'm here with the Wahlbergs, and they said that they might want to look at our house. You know, would that be okay? Okay, 10 minutes. Okay, fine. We'll give you 10 minutes, and we'll drop by. And they'll take a look. And they love the house, and that's what this agent did, but he didn't know how to write it up. Well, my gosh, folks, I mean, he had control of the listing and they wanted to buy it, but he screwed up on the agency. He tried to do it as a limited agent. Well, if you're a principal in a transaction, you can't represent the other party. Come on, whose best interest are you always going to be looking out for? Okay. So they gave him corrective notice. They said, okay, we want you to take a class on ethics and it won't count for CE credit. And that's all we want you to do. And we want you to do that within 30 days. And he didn't do it. Well, then what do you think they did? They suspended him. I mean, come on. If the division tells you to do something and the commissioners have ruled against you, you better dang well get it done. Okay. I don't know why he did that because he just really chapped him off. Number 13. It's like you're insulting their authority. I mean, no revenuer, no regulator wants that to happen. Let's look at number 13, please. All right. If an agent is found to have acted inappropriately according to real estate rules, the real estate commission could they put you in jail? No, that's what a judge does. Could they suspend your real estate license? What do you think? They're the ones that gave it to you. Could they cancel your business license? Now, a business license is like a sales tax license, something like that. Or some cities have licenses. They license businesses of all types. Okay, but that's not something the real estate division has anything to do with. Okay, D, hold them in contempt. Contempt of what? The real estate commission? A contempt is like a court thing, right? They can't put you in jail. They can't cancel your business license because they didn't give it to you. They could cancel your real estate license, which is B, and that's a correct answer, by the way. Or they could, they can't hold you in contempt. You're not in court. Okay. I mean, you may act rude and whatnot, and that's really stupid. I think that's get you in big trouble. I mean, be polite. I mean, a lot of these people you will have done deals with them. Okay. I mean, they have, they're active licensees or they run big companies, perhaps. Number 13, if an agent is found to have acted inappropriately according to real estate rules, it is B. They could suspend their license. Right. Number 14, here we go. If a licensee is compliant or complicit, excuse me, in a fraudulent behavior, which is true, so they were part of it. The most they can do is sentences, fines. No, they could actually pull your license, right? Could they face civil lawsuits and incarceration? Yeah, but that's it's let's hang on to that because I don't know. I don't know. That sounds really good though. Okay, because they could face civil lawsuits and it could be incarcerated if a judge pulled them in. Okay. See, they're immune from the regular court system. Yeah, as few people have gone to court that wish that were true, but it's not. I mean, if anything, having a license in our state holds you to a higher standard. If you're just some investor that's out buying your own stuff, uh, you know, you don't have to comply with all our rules because you don't have a license. But if you have a license, then you got to comply. Got to make notifications. People have to understand who you represent. They have to understand your fiduciaries. It can get real complicated. Okay, so all punishments will apply equally to their broker. Not necessarily. If a broker could show that they're giving you education on a regular basis, that they're keeping track of you, agents still screw up. They can still screw up. Okay, and if that's the case, then it won't necessarily happen. So the only one here that really makes sense, okay, that is true is just because you have a license doesn't make you immune from the regular court system, right? Sure. If anything, they're going to pay even more attention, to what the rules and regs are, because if you don't have a license, you're not required to go with those. But if you do have a license, now I've had investors that got a license, and then when they had to tell people that, well, yes, I have a real estate license, it made it much harder for them to get good deals or buy properties. Um, because they thought, well, this person has superior knowledge because they have a license. Maybe I ought to get someone to represent me in this transaction. And it kind of backfired. I've had one gentleman in Colorado that was one of the best procurers of good deals I've ever met. But he got a license because he wanted to, he was greedy. He wanted to get my 3 or 5% also. But he found out right away it didn't work. So I don't know. Maybe it would work. Maybe it wouldn't. All you could do is try it. If nothing else, though, I think everyone ought to get a license, or at least go through the licensing process, because you learn a lot of vocab and learn how things should be done. If this is your profession, you're buying and selling real estate, then you ought to know as much about it as you can. One of the great things you can do is just get a real estate license. So we have people come to our school all the time that never even really wanted to get a license. They just wanted to know more about the business and how it worked. We had an anesthesiologist come through not too long ago, and he wasn't going to give up his doctor income. He just wanted to know more about real estate. Let's look at number 15, please. If a licensee has a hearing before the commission due to misconduct, okay, what do you think? A, they first must complete a criminal investigation. B, they can request the case be tried in court. Okay. C, they can have an attorney represent them. And C, they must appear alone before the commission with no attorney. Okay. So of these three, what do you think, guys? It's a hearing. It's coming up next week. Take your lawyer. C. C is the correct answer. You should have a lawyer present with you. If they're pulling you in, they didn't have to pull you in. They could have just written you a correction letter. Remember that? That's the gift. Man, you want that correction letter. And then you do exactly what they tell you to do, for your penance, whether it's take some CE classes or community service or whatever it is. Okay. You do it, because it can get a lot worse. Okay? And if you're going before the commission, there's only just a few lawyers in our state. Yeah. Now don't go get your family law guy that handled your divorce, to be your lawyer, because they don't know the rules and regulations of the real estate division. They're smart people and they could probably learn them pretty quickly, but there are a few lawyers in the state, a handful, that actually understand these things, and they do a lot of work with brokerage firms and representing agents. The lawyers that represent boards of realtors in another area is another lawyer that sits through all of our board meetings and whatnot, and they understand what's what, but they may not want to represent you because they're working for the board too. I don't know. So, but find an attorney that understands the rule, that actually does this kind of work. It's like getting a specialist. Okay. And, if you want some recommendations, you can call me or you can call Dan. You can call us and, we'll do our best to point you in a direction. But 70% to pass, which, means on the state, you can miss, you know, uh, 30% of the questions, right? Okay. Or you can miss 21, right? Nah, you don't want to do that. You want to pass. You want to, unfortunately, they're just going to tell you pass. I know it's going to be very shocking for some of you because you wanted to know, well, did I get 100 or a 98? Just, okay, figure you got 100. Okay. If you passed, who cares? Okay. Thanks for being here tonight. My name is Rick Roller, and my phone number, if you want to call, 801-556-8000, 556-8000, area code 801. You can also call the school. We have people there during normal business hours. You can call me after hours. If you're really confused about something, I would prefer that you just gave me a call. I'm happy to help you. It'll take 10 minutes on the phone and you'll understand it. That's better than you spending an hour and a half trying to find it in your manual or something. So take advantage of that if you want to. I get calls, I get, half dozen calls a week or so, but not as many as I thought I would. So, gets lonely out here. Give me a call, okay? Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you being in our classes. These little reviews can really make the difference. You can do this. And once you get your license, you can make it in real estate too. It is a wonderful thing to do. It's been, you know, changed my life dramatically. And I know that if you work hard, it'll change yours as well. And we can show you what to do with that too. So thanks for being with us tonight. Thank you, Dan, for being our technician, our school owner, Mr. Danny Naylor, and the host with the most. So thank you, sir. And we will see you out there.
Thanks for watching. If you want to show some appreciation to our instructors, be sure to like and subscribe so that they see how much you enjoyed it. And if you want any additional review material, check the links below for our full suite of practice materials for the real estate license exam. Thank you.